What's going on, guys? My name is Ben. How are you guys doing today? And what I have for you today in this video is a recap of Apple's WWDC event. Just got home around 2 o'clock and I immediately watched the event. Surprisingly, it wasn't available on their site, so I had to use my iPod to watch the whole event because for some reason it was there. I don't know, in HTML format. But anyway, let's talk about Apple's recap or event, whatever you guys want to call it. So first of all, like Apple does, they brag themselves. We sold this many devices and all that. Well, actually, they did that throughout the conference as well as they were introducing new topics. But they were just bragging themselves about like how they're proud of their status and all that. And one thing I want to mention is that when Apple tried to sell tickets to the WWDC conference, they were sold out in about a minute. I was surprised. I was like, geez. Because, let me tell you something. This conference had to be one of the best ones since the unveil of the iPhone 4, in my opinion. But anyway, let's get started. Now, before Apple announced anything, they let this company take the stage called Anki. And they announced this thing called Anki Drive or something, which is, they say it's used to create a new category experiences. And what they were saying is that they were using iOS devices to make the products and then use an iOS device to make new gaming experience. And they were using their iOS device, by the way, I'm looking at my notes here, to like control their products. So they had like this sort of racetrack to show, and then they had like cars driving on it, like little toy cars. And then they had another car putting in there that went very fast. Now, that looked cool, but I still don't understand what Anki Drive is all about. So I definitely will be thinking about that for the next 3 or 4 days. So with that out of my mind, Apple actually took the stage and they announced the next operating system of Mac OS X. Now, Apple was like, we're having a hard time right here because we pretty much named all our OS X operating systems after every cat that was out there, and they made a joke saying OS X Sea Lion, but then they were like, nah, let's do something different for the next 10 years, so they announced OS X Mavericks. OS X Mavericks has some updates to it. What does it have? It has Finder tabs, which is basically where if you go into the Finder app, you can actually have tabs to open up different windows. Like if you guys know Windows 8 or Windows 7, you can have multiple windows open up. You can also do that as well with the Finder, but you can actually take those windows, put it into one window, and then use it as a tab. Kind of like what you get, or you can do with web browsers these days. They also have tags, which is where you can appear in your tags, or like if you have a document open, you can tag it and then put it in a certain tag in your Finder. For those of you guys that use Macs, you'll know. For those of you guys that are using PCs, you're probably confused right now. Alright, and this supports multiple displays. Now, the way they demonstrated this was like you have certain windows on your main display, and then you can drag your windows to another display. You have a secondary monitor connected to your Mac, and you can have full screen apps on that secondary monitor, but nothing has changed on your main monitor. So you could have a full screen app on one monitor and a non-full screen app on another monitor, and you can actually access the dock that's usually at the bottom of your page, unless you have it set up differently, on your secondary monitor. So that's pretty cool, if you ask me. Now I'm thinking about getting a Mac, maybe in the next few years or so. And not only that, you can also use the Apple TV as another monitor to your Mac, which is awesome, if you guys ask me. And the Apple TV, for those of you guys that don't know, those are like the little set-top boxes that Apple sells, which basically just streams movies, TV shows, videos, and photos, etc. Alright? And they announced this thing called timer coalescing, which basically reduces the number of transactions that are being used in your Mac. And then they announced this thing called compressed memory, which is basically where they have free space for applications and make it more responsive. So there could be certain applications that could be taking up more memory, than it needs to, and compressed memory pretty much tries to reduce that. Alright, next thing they talked about was Safari for the Mac, and it has a new homepage, and now you have a sidebar where you can see all your bookmarks, which is awesome. You guys asked me. I wonder if they have that for Windows. I forgot about that. Alright, and you also have reading lists, shared links, some JavaScript improvements, and it uses less memory. And now they announced this thing called iCloud Keychain, and it basically remembers all the privacy information that you have on your Mac, such as, as they said, website login, because I don't know how many of you guys forget your login passwords. I can't speak to it. Jeez. I don't know how many of you guys forgot your passwords for your login accounts, but if you did, that's terrible. But with Safari on the Mac, the latest one, it'll keep track of that. And it can remember other things such as credit card numbers, Wi-Fi networks, account information, etc. And it syncs across all your systems. So if you have multiple Macs, all that information will be synced across all devices that you have. Alright, and they talked about notifications. Now you can actually reply to a message in the notification. So let's say if you get an email or a text message from iMessage, well, all you have to do is respond to it in the notification tab. Alright, and you can also delete the email while you're in the notification, so you don't have to go into the Mail app. Alright, and of course you can also reply to people, like if they're trying to make a FaceTime call with you, you can just tell them in a text message, hey, I'll call you back later, I'm busy right now. Alright, and you can receive email notifications, and let's say you turned off your computer and then you wake up the next time, it'll notify you what you missed once your computer is booted up again. Alright, and then they talked about calendar, which calendar they didn't really say too much. I think it was just redesigned. I never use calendar on a Mac because I don't own a Mac, but for those of you Mac users, you'll probably know that a little bit more than I do. But in the calendar app, you do have continuous scrolling. And they talked about maps. Maps is now in the OS X operating system. Now you have 3D flyover with that, points of interest, turn-by-turn navigation. And if you guys set up a turn-by-turn direction or set up a route on your Mac, you can send it directly to your iPhone, and then you can open up the Maps application on your iPhone, and it'll start navigating you to the place that you're going to. Alright, and then they brought iBooks to Macs, and there's a developer preview of it today, and it'll be released this fall. Alright, now that we're out of Mac OS X, Phil Schiller came up on the stage and talked about Macs, and he started out with the MacBook Air. The MacBook Air got some minor spec upgrades right now, like you have all-day battery life. I'm not sure how accurate this is because laptop batteries don't always last long. Not even the MacBook Pro from when I used it last time, because it was supposed to last about 5 hours. It only lasted about over 2 hours. That's it. But at the same time, this Sony Vaio right here that I'm using to record this video from, it lasts about 2 hours or so. So laptop batteries aren't always accurate, in my opinion. The MacBook Air also has a 4th gen Intel Core processor in there. It's power saving, more energy efficient CPU, and it's 2 times the GPU execution units, 40% faster graphics, smarter low power states, and the 11-inch model has a 9-hour battery life. The 13-inch model is going to have 12 hours of battery life, and it's 45% faster flash. That's what it has. Not only that, but this has 802.11ac Wi-Fi. So currently, we're used to BG and N, and now this has AC in it, alright, which is 3 times faster. Now, there aren't that many networks or many Wi-Fi routers out there that have AC, but that's why Apple announced the new Airport Extreme for wider range, and they also announced a new Airport Extreme, or Airport Time Capsule, I'm sorry. And the 11-inch model is going to cost $999 for 128GB 256 gigabytes for $1,199. 13-inch model, 128 gigabytes for $1,099. 256 gigabytes will cost you $1,299, and they ship today. Now, before Phil Schiller left the stage, once he got done talking about the Macs, he gave us a sneak peek on what Apple was working on, and they were working on the Mac Pro. Alright, so they have a new generation of the Mac Pro, and it's completely redesigned. Now, you guys don't know what the Mac Pro is. The Mac Pro is Apple's most expensive Mac. It's like the huge desktop that you would see in the Apple Store. Now, the next generation of the Mac Pro, Apple really made it so small. I mean, it looks like a thermos because it's like a cylinder, and it's only like about this tall, which is very interesting. And I don't know how much customization you can do to it. I wasn't understanding that part when Phil Schiller was mentioning it, but I know with the Mac Pro, the current generation right now, you can do a lot with it. You can upgrade the chassis and all that. It has the new Intel Xeon with 12-core configs, 256-bit wide floating point PCI Express Gen 3. It is 2 times faster ECC memory, and it has 1866 MHz of DDR3, 4-channel controller, 60 gigabytes per second bandwidth, and it has a new flash with 1.25 gigabytes per second reads and 1.0 gigabytes per second writes. And this has Thunderbolt 2, and this can connect 3 4K displays, and this contains 4 USB 3.0 ports, 6 FireWire 2 ports, Ethernet, all that other stuff. And it has a motion sensor, so that way whenever you want to turn the Mac Pro to take a look at the ports, there will be a light that'll turn on to show you where the ports are, and it's coming later this year. And this is actually assembled here in the USA, in the United States of America. Normally with Apple products, they would be assembled in China, but now they're going to be, this one is assembled in the USA. Alright, so they talked about iCloud. Now, they say that they're going to bring iWork into iCloud, and you can create documents in the cloud on a Mac or a PC. So for those you PC users out there like me, this is an advantage for you. You guys use iCloud a lot. But now, for me, I don't use iCloud a lot because I just find it gimmicky because I don't really trust cloud storage yet. But for some reason, what Apple announced today is really getting me to consider using iCloud. And let me tell you why. Because first of all, they say that you can drag documents into your iCloud, and you can even drag Word documents. Now that's what really turned me on, because they say you can actually work on a Microsoft Word document in the iWork application, or whatever you guys want to call it. Now I don't know you can do that now without iCloud, but like I said, I don't use iCloud too often. And it starts today for developers, and it will be coming out later this year. Now, I think Apple was saving the best for last because this is the biggest innovation they've done to their product lineup. They talked about iOS. They announced iOS 7. Now, we all expected that coming. Biggest change since the first launch of the iPhone back in 2007. It has a new user interface, new colors, and everything is like translucent. Like everything is transparent, whatever you guys want to call it. And it has animations, and it responds to your movement. Like if you were to tilt your device, your wallpaper will be moving with you because it's detecting all your motions. Now I thought Apple has to put like some sort of sensors into the device, but it looks like they must have already did that. Now I don't know if this will support the iPhone 4, but iPhone 5, iPod Touch 5th generation will definitely have it. Not sure about the other devices. And some of their apps that are stock iOS apps are completely redesigned. Alright? And you can have multiple pages in the folders that you create in iOS. and it has a new notification center. Also, it's also in the lock screen. You can also view the notification center in the lock screen. And they have this thing called Control Center. Now, you guys are familiar with Android, or for those of you jailbreakers out there, you have SB settings. It's basically where you can slide down from the top to have your toggle settings. Apple finally put it in there. Thank goodness. Except that you're doing it from the bottom. Why did they do that? I don't know, because I guess they wanted to keep the notification center right here. Alright, so Control Center, swipe from the bottom, and they talked about multitasking, and multitasking has changed since iOS 4.0 up till now. Because you usually have the app switching part right here. Not anymore with iOS 7. It's like a cards style multitasking. If you think about WebOS that was released back in the day with Palm before they switched to HP, and HP pretty much ruined them. Palm WebOS had like that card style multitasking, which was pretty awesome. It looked cool, and now it's in iOS. Apple, thank you. And the thing with multitasking is that it remembers the apps that you use the most, so that way it'll keep running that in the background, and then the ones that you don't use too often, then it'll just give you more power to that app, or run that app in the background whenever you need to. So I'm interested to see how that's going to work. The features it has is intelligent scheduling, opportunistic updates, and it adapts to network conditions, coalesced updates, push triggers, and then they talked about Safari. It has a new full screen look. You can tap the top for smart search, field, favorites, new tab view, and then they talked about iCloud tabs. And of course, they have this feature called AirDrop, which is basically where you can like send somebody on their iPhone something that you have on your phone onto their phone without having to bump the devices together from certain devices that already do that. But the thing is, it's not supported on the iPhone 4. It's supported on the iPhone 5. Well, I'm not sure what devices that's supported on, but it's definitely not the iPhone 4. So too bad for me. It accepts what's shared from another device, and then they talked about the camera app. You have live photo filters, new photos app, organize photos into moments, and then they talked about Siri. Siri has a new user interface, and it has a new voice, and you can have a female or a male voice, and Siri sounds a lot more natural versus being robotic, right now. I mean, if you listen to Siri right now, Siri, who are you?
I'm Siri, your virtual assistant.
So you can see that Siri right now sounds robotic, and they changed that to make it more natural. Almost sounds like Google Voice. Alright, and it's a lot smarter, and it can perform settings. So you can tell it to turn on Bluetooth, or change the brightness, turn off Wi-Fi, all that good stuff. And it can answer more questions, and then they're going to bring iOS into the car. And you can actually get iOS to appear on the screen that's in your particular car. Such as Honda, Mercedes, Nissan, Chevy, Acura, Jaguar, all of those other cars that are supporting Siri. Now they talk about the App Store, and they say the apps are much easier to find now, and normally, right now, you would have to go into the App Store to update the apps manually, but with iOS 7, it's going to update the apps automatically, so you don't have those badge icons anymore. Now they talk about the Music app. Music app, completely redesigned again. They have artist images, see albums when turned sideways, so they changed cover flow to something else. And, they announced this thing called iTunes Radio, and it's across all devices, and it's free with ads, but if you're an iTunes subscriber, it's ad-free. And of course, activation lock. They talked about activation lock here. Now, for those of you guys that use Find My iPhone a lot, and someone steals your device, and they can actually turn off Find My iPhone, or like try to use the device or something, if they were to do that, they won't be able to activate the phone. And that's a big plus, because there are a lot of thieves out there that would steal these devices and hack into their phones to steal people's information. So I'm interested to see how that's going to work out. And there's a developer preview on the iPhone today, and there will be a developer preview for the iPad coming in a few weeks, and the official release of iOS 7 will be released this fall. What devices is going to be supported? That's the question. Well, iPhone 4, iPhone 4S, iPhone 5. So no more iPhone 3GS. iPhone 3GS is finally outdated. And of course the iPad 2, iPad 3, iPad 4, as well as the iPad mini in the 5th generation iPod Touch. So the 4th generation iPod Touch users will have to get a new iPod if you want to get iOS 7. So that is all that happened today at WWDC. I thank you so much for watching this video. What do you guys think about Apple's developer conference today? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you find anything innovating in there? Did you find anything less innovating? How is this compared to Google I/O? Yeah, I don't know. You guys leave it in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, I'm not in the military.